Alright, y'all, we recorded some footage, but we're just starting fresh because the footage we had is just crap footage. This is the beginning of the vlog. It's going to be a short vlog. She literally just got back from Little Rock. We're at the park right now. We're going to work on clients. We're going to take Jack for a walk. We're going to lay in the hammocks and connect. Right?
Yep.
She's like zombie tired mode, which is understandable. She's been driving for like 24 hours straight. So, she went to the doctor to follow up on the biopsy that they took of an ulcer in your small intestine.
Yep.
What was the results and the outcome, and what's the feedback?
Honestly, he has no idea.
He has no idea?
They tested it for Crohn's and said that they're pretty sure it's not. So that's a pretty funny answer. And then he has no explanation for anything else. We're not doing any more testing. I had more knowledge about my nutrition and what I'm eating and my supplements and stuff than he did. Like, I asked him specifically about certain things and he literally had no answer and wanted to give me more medicine, and I told him no. So I think we're done with him. He was good. I'm glad that we got the scopes done. I'm glad that everything looks pretty clear. There is inflammation. There is at least one ulcer in my small intestine, and at least we have those answers. But yeah, going forward, it's just going to be a lot of just like me figuring out my diet, me figuring out my supplements, and just trying to kind of figure it out on our own.
What did you ask him about, like electrolytes and whatnot? 'Cause
Yeah,
he was wanting to give you what kind of medication?
He wanted to give me some more stuff to help the muscles, like from like contracting like sporadically, which is what they do, and to help like with constipation and stuff. And that is easily taken care of with electrolytes. So I said, is there a way that we can not do medication and maybe just increase my electrolytes? And he said, what do you mean by electrolytes? And I said, magnesium and potassium and possibly even sodium. And he's like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. And so I asked him like about amounts, and he pretty much just said, just play around with it. You can't really go wrong with those. So
I met this doctor when we went in for her scopes, and I don't want to talk bad about any doctors, right? There's some great doctors. There's some great doctors in this keto community. I've had several of them on my podcast. They're freaking awesome. They're rock stars. This particular doctor that she used for the scopes is like an old school doctor. Like,
I'm sure he's really smart. I'm sure he's helped a lot of people, but he's definitely old school, like not up to date with anything. Because I asked him like several things that I've been like studying and I've like known through my own schooling, and he didn't seem to be aware of them. So it was almost like, wow, like I'm actually teaching you something. And he said to me, like, you know a lot more about nutrition and like your health than most anybody that ever walks through my door. So I mean, just says something that like Americans do not pay attention to what they do. They simply go somewhere and expect answers.
Yeah, and he was really quick to just write scripts for everything. Like, before he even sat down to listen to what she had to say about the electrolytes or the nutrition, like nutrition never crossed his, like he never said that word.
Yeah, I had to ask him like, what can I do for my diet?
Yeah. And the only good that really came out of working with him was that he did the scopes, and then he biopsied the ulcer and determined that there was not a sign of Crohn's, which is great. That's good to know. But at the end of the day, he didn't give us any tangible, like, proactive steps to anything. It was all reactive prescriptions that he wrote. Yeah. So we're not doing the scripts. We're continuing to dive into this and figure out what it is. Kind of like steps she's taken. The last video we talked about her nutrition. What did we talk about in the last one?
I went from doing like the more carnivore to liquid.
Right, to liquid.
And
now,
the liquid's been great, but I mean, you can't like just live on liquids.
Can't live on liquids. So now she's going to try and incorporate more of like an extended fast, like 2 days, like 48
hours,
3 hours or so.
43 hours fasted, 5 hours feasting. Which
I think would be good, because with her like digestive patterns, that'll give her enough time for like her body to empty out before having like a big caloric load. And we're just going to play around with it, you know, like she kind of doesn't fit the typical description of people, because her digestive system is not normal. So a lot of the things that we're doing for her, we wouldn't do for like the clients that we have now.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, this makes us better coaches because we're able to kind of see things from a different perspective, and try and tackle things from a different angle. But the main point, like, all this has taught us, like, it's stressful. Like, she has had a lot of pain issues, and it's frustrating to like go to doc. I mean, she traveled 6 hours today after we traveled 6 hours yesterday for him to tell her that yeah, electrolytes might be a good idea. Well, honestly, like, I take that back. It was good that we went there, or she went there, and we had the peace of mind of knowing she didn't have Crohn's disease. Like, we can't complain, because that's a great thing, and I'm happy for that.
I'm super grateful for that. It almost seems like I'm ungrateful, but I'm super grateful. I was very, very afraid of having it, because that is, I mean, for anybody who has it or knows someone who has it, it can be a very terrible disease. So.
But one of the main key takeaways that I want everybody to kind of get from this video, and this is a very short, non-fancy edited video by any means, but, and we've said this before, but you have to take your own health into your own hands, because nobody's going to do it for you. And just because there's a doctor out there that recommends the scripts, that doesn't necessarily mean that they know or is going to recommend what's best for you. So that's honestly one of the main reasons it's so key to like self-experiment. Like, you got to give yourself some frame of reference, some perspective, some perception. And like, if you never played around with things in your body and never kind of like honed in on what works and what doesn't work, then you're not going to know how any variable they recommend is going to impact you, because there's no frame of reference. So yeah,
and
important.
Like, honestly, at this point, when he kept like offering me different things, like, oh, maybe if you do this, maybe if you do that, and I told him, I said, I literally measure everything. Like, I literally have measured the water that I intake, and like all of these different supplements and all this and that, and like I could literally just spit it out to him, like, this is what I'm doing, because I know. And at a certain point, you just feel like you've done everything. And the important point of this is you haven't done everything. There is something more. And even if it's something that you haven't wanted to do, like, I like to eat. I don't want to do a fast. I don't want to do an extended fast. Like, that's not something that like I'm looking forward to doing. But if that's the one thing that's going to make me feel good in the long term, then screw it. I'm doing it. So there's always more options. There's always something new to be looking into. So
yeah, even
when you feel like you've done everything, you have not.
And on that note, huge shout out to every single one of you that have like followed this journey of hers, like DM'd us, pinged us, emailed us with like advice or just like encouragement or support. I mean, one of y'all have sent us some great information on like bacteria and naturopath steps that we can take. So we're looking into that next. That's kind of like the next thing in the pipeline that we're going to experiment and play around with and see if it makes an improvement. Mm-hmm. So thank y'all for all the support for her. That's been really, really great. We're very grateful for that.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of insight to a lot of different things and different options of ways I could go. And some are more pricey, some are a little bit easier to get a hold of, but you guys have helped a ton, just like open my eyes to like a ton more options and making me feel like there's more hope than just relying on a couple doctors,
Yeah. We'll get you figured out, babe. We'll get you figured out. Alright, normal vlog will resume tomorrow. So, I've got quite a few more updates, but I'll save those for tomorrow. So we'll catch y'all tomorrow.